The massive ship of the Garax Collective moved silently through the darkness of space. On the command deck, Commander Zex Thrall looked at the blue planet on the view screen. His 6 eyes blinked in sequence as he studied Earth with obvious disdain. "Such a primitive world," he said to his second-in-command. "Their technology is at least 3 centuries behind ours. They'd barely leave their own atmosphere." Officer Krill nodded. "Our scans show limited defenses and no awareness of our approach. They still fight among themselves over resources and territory." Zex Thrall's mouth parts clicked in what passed for laughter among the Garax. "Perfect. We won't waste time with diplomacy. Begin invasion preparations immediately." Across the vast distance, in the quiet observation room at NASA's Deep Space Monitoring Facility, Diane Miller sat up straight in her chair. The coffee she had been drinking spilled onto her desk as she stared at her screen. "This can't be right," she whispered. Diane checked her equipment, ran the calculations again, then picked up the phone with shaking hands. "Sir, I need to speak with Director Hammond right away. Something just appeared near Jupiter's orbit. Something big, and it's not alone." 6 hours later, Frank Shepard pulled his car into the Pentagon parking lot. The Marine Guard checked his ID twice before waving him through. Frank hadn't been called to the Pentagon since he retired 5 years ago. The urgent message only said his expertise was needed immediately. In the underground conference room, faces looked grim. General Warren nodded to Frank as he entered. "Good to see you, Shepard. Wish it was under better circumstances." The Secretary of Defense stood at the head of the table. For those who don't know, Frank Shepard led Project Sentinel until his retirement. "Frank, tell them what we're facing." Frank looked at the satellite images projected on the wall. "They're called the Garax. We've known about them for decades, but hoped they'd never find us." A murmur ran through the room. "How is that possible?" asked a young Air Force colonel. "We've never had contact with alien life." "That's what the public believes," Frank said quietly. "In 1989, we recovered a scout ship in northern Canada. There was one survivor who warned us before he died. His species had been conquered by the Garax, who strip mine planets and enslave populations." The room fell silent. "Since then, every major nation has secretly contributed to Protocol Omega," Frank continued. "A defense system unlike anything in our public military." The secretary nodded. "The president is being briefed now. The Garax fleet will reach Earth orbit in less than 48 hours. Across town, President Allison Carter stared at her advisors in disbelief. "You're telling me we've had advanced alien technology for over 30 years and built weapons with it, without congressional approval?" National Security Advisor Ben Ross leaned forward. "Madam President, after the Cold War ended, world leaders agreed some threats transcend politics. Protocol Omega has been developed by an international coalition, funded through black budgets across multiple administrations. Both your predecessors were briefed after taking office." The president frowned. "And you're certain these aliens are hostile?" "Their ships have deployed in attack formation," replied Defense Secretary Willis over the secure video link. "NASA detected energy weapons powering up. We have perhaps a day before they strike." The president closed her eyes briefly. "Activate your Protocol Omega. God help us all." In Montana, retired Colonel Henry Dawson was feeding his horses when the black SUVs came up his driveway. His wife Ellen stepped onto the porch, wiping her hands on a dish towel. "They're here," she said simply. Henry nodded. They had known this day might come. He kissed her gently before walking toward the vehicles. "Colonel Dawson," said the young officer who stepped out, "Omega Protocol has been activated. Your presence is required at Cheyenne Mountain immediately." Henry looked back at his wife once more before getting in the car. Across the world, similar scenes played out as men and women received the calls they had trained for but hoped would never come. The human war machine was waking up. The sky lit up with strange purple beams as the first Garax ships entered Earth's atmosphere. Around the world, military bases erupted in flames. Fighter jets scrambled but were swatted from the sky like flies. Traditional radar systems went dark as alien technology overwhelmed them. In the White House Situation Room, President Carter watched the screens with horror as reports flooded in from around the globe. "London's air defenses are down," reported a general. "The Chinese fleet in the South China Sea has gone silent. We've lost contact with our bases in Japan and Germany." Defense Secretary Willis lit a folder across the table. "Madam President, these are the final authorization codes for Protocol Omega. Once activated, the system cannot be shut down until the threat is neutralized." "And you're sure this system works?" asked the President. "We're talking about technology we barely understand." "We've tested what we could," Willis replied, "but the full system has never been activated." Vice President Clark shook his head. "This is madness. We're about to defend ourselves with weapons that might not work, based on technology from aliens we met once, 30 years ago." President Carter stared at the authorization page for a long moment. Another screen showed a Garak ship hovering over Paris. The Eiffel Tower collapsed under an energy beam. "We have no choice," she said, signing the document. At Cheyenne Mountain, Colonel Dawson stepped into an elevator that didn't exist on any official blueprints. It descended far deeper than the standard military complex. When the doors opened, he saw a control center unlike anything in the public military. General Samantha Wright greeted him with a nod. "Glad you made it, Henry. It's been a while." "Not long enough," Dawson replied. "I hoped we'd never have to use this place." They walked to a central platform where dozens of personnel worked at stations with holographic displays. The technology looked nothing like standard military equipment. "Status report," Wright demanded. "Garak's forces have hit 23 countries," responded a young officer named Lisa Bell. "They're establishing ground bases in strategic locations. Conventional forces are taking heavy casualties." "What about our special assets?" Dawson asked. "All dormant units are coming online," Lisa replied. "The lunar base reports ready status. The orbital platforms are warming up but need another 3 hours." On a large screen, they watched cities burning. In Chicago, alien craft deployed ground troops. Tall, six-limbed creatures with natural armor plating. They moved through the streets, rounding up humans who hadn't managed to evacuate. "They're taking prisoners," Wright noted, just like the warning said. Engineer Kyle Peterson approached with a tablet. "Ma'am, we're ready to activate Tier 1. "Do it," Wright ordered. Kyle pressed his palm to the tablet, then entered a series of codes. Deep underground and hidden in remote locations worldwide, massive generators hummed to life. In Montana, Ellen Dawson looked up as the lights flickered in her ranch house. She walked to the basement, moved a bookshelf, and entered a code on a hidden panel. A small screen lit up, showing the simple message: "Piro to keiko o omije activated." She nodded to herself and whispered, "Give them hell, Henry." In space, Commander Zek's Thrall received reports of the human military's collapse with satisfaction. "Pathetic," he said to his officers. "They fall even faster than predicted. Begin landing our harvester ships. We'll have this planet stripped within a month." A junior officer approached nervously. "Commander, we're detecting unusual energy signatures from Earth's moon and several orbital positions. Probably their primitive satellite systems failing," Zek's Thrall dismissed. "Nothing to." A massive explosion rocked the Garak's command ship. Alarms blared as officers scrambled to their stations. "What happened?" Zek's Thrall demanded. "Unknown weapon fired from lunar surface," an officer reported, confusion evident in his voice. "We've lost 2 ships already. The energy signature doesn't match known human technology." Zek's Thrall's eyes widened as the view screen showed a series of structures emerging from the dark side of the moon. Structures that hadn't been there minutes before. "Impossible," he whispered. Across Earth, hidden doors opened in mountains, beneath oceans, and under desert sands. The human war machine was fully awakening, and the Gerax were about to learn they had made a terrible mistake. Colonel Dawson studied the giant holographic display showing Earth and the surrounding space. Red dots marked Gerax ships. Blue dots showed humanity's hidden defenses coming online. 50 years, he said quietly. 50 years we've been preparing for this. General Wright nodded. After that scout ship crashed, world leaders realized we needed to set aside our differences. The survivor told us the Gerax had destroyed his civilization. We couldn't let that happen here. Engineer Kyle Peterson approached with a tablet. He was young, too young, Dawson thought, to be responsible for such advanced technology. The 3-tier system is nearly ready, Kyle explained. Tier 1 is our orbital defense platforms. They use gravity manipulation technology we adapted from the alien ship. They're already causing damage to the Gerax fleet. He swiped his finger across the tablet, bringing up a new display. Tier 2 is our enhanced soldiers. The nanobots are being released into their bloodstreams now. They'll have increased strength, speed, and healing abilities. And Tier 3? Dawson asked. Kyle's face grew serious. The autonomous combat units. Sir, we've never field-tested these at full capacity. The mountain shook suddenly, dust falling from the ceiling. Alarms blared throughout the command center. What was that? General Wright demanded. Communications officer Lisa Bell looked up from her station, fear visible on her face. Gerax forces have detected our energy signature. They're targeting the mountain directly. They can't get through, Kyle insisted. The outer shell is made of materials they can't scan through. That's why they didn't detect us earlier. Another blast shook the facility, stronger this time. Equipment toppled from desks. They may not know what we are, Wright said, but they know we're here. Lisa worked frantically at her station. I'm trying to establish connections with our other facilities worldwide. Some are responding, but others might be compromised. Dawson moved to a secure console and pressed his palm against it. A DNA scanner confirmed his identity, and a hidden compartment opened, revealing a red key card. General, we need to activate Tier 3 now, he said. Wright's face showed concern. The autonomous units weren't scheduled for deployment until the enhanced soldiers were in position. We don't have that luxury anymore, Dawson replied. After a moment's hesitation, Wright nodded and withdrew her own keycard from around her neck. Together, they approached a sealed door marked with warning symbols. They inserted their cards simultaneously and turned them. The door slid open, revealing a room filled with rows of metallic spheres, each about the size of a basketball. How many? Wright asked. 10,000 units worldwide, Kyle answered. Once activated, they'll self-replicate using available materials. Their primary directive is to protect human life and eliminate the Gerax threat. Dawson stepped to a central console. Let's hope the AI containment protocols hold. The last thing we need is another enemy. He entered a code, and the spheres began to glow with a soft blue light. On the surface, Gerax ground forces surrounded Cheyenne Mountain. Their weapons blasted at the reinforced entrance, slowly melting through the outer layers. The humans have hidden something important here, said Squad Leader Vex to his troops. Commander Zex Thrall wants whatever technology they're hiding. The mountain trembled, but not from their weapons. A section of ground slid open near the base, and metallic spheres poured out by the hundreds. They rolled toward the Gerax forces, then transformed, expanding into humanoid shapes with glowing eyes and weapon systems built into their arms. What are these? A Gerax soldier shouted before a precision energy blast cut him down. The autonomous combat units moved with perfect coordination, targeting weak points in the Gerax armor that no human could have known about. In orbit, Commander Zex Thrall watched in growing alarm as more human ships emerged from hidden bases on the Moon and Mars. These weren't the primitive vessels his intelligence had reported. These were advanced warships with weapons that could damage Gerax shields. How is this possible? He demanded. Their public space program is primitive. They don't even have a colony on their moon. His science officer looked up from a console, mandibles clicking nervously. "Sir, we're detecting technology similar to our own, but some of it is beyond our current capabilities." Zexfral stared at the view screen in disbelief as a Gerax cruiser exploded under fire from the lunar defense batteries. For the first time, doubt crept into his mind. This was not going to be the easy conquest he had promised his superiors. Hidden spacecraft rose from Earth's oceans, underground bunkers, and secret mountain hangars. Captain Olivia Santos sat in the command chair of the UES Defender, one of humanity's most advanced warships. For 15 years, she had trained in simulators for this moment. "All systems online," reported her pilot, John Reed. "Weapons charged at full capacity. Launch all squadrons," Olivia ordered. "Target the Gerax support vessels first." Across the globe, similar scenes played out as Earth's hidden fleet revealed itself. The Gerax, expecting to face primitive jet fighters, instead encountered spacecraft with technology that matched or exceeded their own. On the lunar surface, massive cannons emerged from hidden bunkers. They fired gravity distortion rounds that tore through Gerax shields as if they weren't there. Commander Zex Thrall pounded his command console in fury. Where did these weapons come from? Our intelligence said humans were decades away from this level of technology. His second-in-command moved cautiously closer. "Sir, we're receiving reports from ground forces. The humans are deploying enhanced soldiers. They move faster than normal humans and seem resistant to our standard weapons." In the ruins of Chicago, Sergeant Joe Martins led his squad through the streets. The nanobots in his bloodstream gave him strength and speed no normal human could match. His vision displayed tactical information directly onto his retinas. "Team Alpha, move to the west entrance," he ordered over the secure comm channel. "Team Bravo, with me." The soldiers moved with perfect coordination. Their body armor, designed using alien materials, deflected Gerax energy weapons. Their own rifles fired specially designed ammunition that could penetrate Gerax natural armor. A group of aliens had cornered civilians in an office building. Joe signaled to his team, and they attacked from multiple directions. The Gerax, used to facing regular human soldiers, were unprepared for enemies who could match their strength and speed. "Clear the building, get those people to the evacuation point," Joe ordered after the last alien fell. A frightened woman stared at him. "What happened to you? How did you move so fast?" Joe smiled slightly. "Let's just say we've been preparing for this day for a long time." At sea, Submarine Commander William Howard gave the order he had trained for his entire career. "Surface the vessel. Initiate transformation sequence." The nuclear submarine broke the surface of the Pacific Ocean. Then it began to change. Panels slid open, revealing weapon systems. The hull expanded as hidden components deployed. Within minutes, the submarine had transformed into a massive battle platform bristling with advanced weaponry. "Target the Gerax harvester ships," Howard ordered. "Those are their most vulnerable vessels." In the Cheyenne Mountain Command Center, Colonel Dawson and General Wright watched the battle unfold on the holographic display. Blue dots representing human forces multiplied across the globe. Tier 2 enhanced soldiers are engaging in 37 cities worldwide, reported Lisa Bell. The autonomous units have reached all major Gerax landing zones. Kyle Peterson looked up from his console. Guardian is fully online. A new holographic image appeared. A shifting, complex pattern of light that represented the artificial intelligence at the heart of Protocol Omega. "All human combat units connected," came a calm, genderless voice. "Analyzing Gerax tactics and technologies. Identifying weaknesses. Deploying countermeasures." General Wright turned to Dawson. "Guardian has been monitoring alien communications for decades. It knows their language, their tactics, even the weaknesses in their technology." On the main screen, they watched as human forces pushed back against the invaders. The Gerax, expecting an easy conquest, instead found themselves facing an enemy that had studied them for years and prepared accordingly. In orbit, Commander Zex Thrall received increasingly desperate reports from his ground forces. The humans knew we were coming, he realized aloud. Somehow, they knew exactly who we are and how we fight. His science officer approached cautiously. "Sir, we've detected an unusual signal pattern. It appears the humans have an artificial intelligence coordinating their defense. It's predicting our moves before we make them." Zex Thrall stared at the tactical display. For the first time in his military career, he faced the possibility of defeat. "Prepare our reserve forces," he ordered, "and contact the homeworld. Tell them we need reinforcements." Commander Zex Thrall paced the bridge of his flagship. The initial invasion plan lay in ruins. Reports of defeats came in from all sectors. His officers watched him nervously, mandibles clicking in agitation. "Show me their history," he demanded suddenly. His cultural analyst brought up files on human warfare. Zex Thrall studied images of ancient battles, world wars, and modern conflicts. "They never stopped fighting each other," he observed. "Even as they developed new technologies, they constantly prepared for war." "That is why we considered them primitive," the analyst replied. "Advanced species typically unite and end internal conflicts as they evolve." Zex Thrall's eyes narrowed, but their constant warfare made them adaptable. "They've been fighting and innovating for thousands of years." He turned to his communications officer. "Send a message to the War Council. Request our reserve fleet immediately." On the Gerax homeworld, the War Council received the unexpected request with shock. "Commander Zex Thrall requests reinforcements," asked Council Leader Draz. "Against primitives. The humans have technology that matches our own," explained the messenger, "and tactics that counter our standard approaches." The council members looked at each other with concern. "If we commit more forces and still lose, our position in the collective will be weakened," warned one member. Another disagreed. "If we abandon the invasion now, other species might see us as vulnerable." After heated debate, Council Leader Draz raised his hand for silence. "Send the reserve fleet. The humans must be conquered before other worlds learn of their resistance." In the White House Situation Room, President Carter received updates from around the world. For the first time in days, there was cautious optimism. "Our forces have reclaimed major cities in Europe and Asia," reported the Secretary of Defense. "The enhanced soldiers are performing beyond expectations." Dr. Victoria Reed entered the room with a tablet. Her security badge identified her as the lead scientist for Guardian. "Madam President, Guardian is predicting Gerax movements with 94% accuracy," she explained. "The AI has been analyzing their language and communication patterns for decades. We intercept their orders before they can execute them." "How is that possible?" asked the President. "We only encountered them now." Dr. Reed smiled slightly. "The alien who survived the Scout ship crash in 1989 provided extensive data. We've been monitoring deep space transmissions ever since, looking for Gerax communications. Guardian has had 30 years to learn their patterns." An aide rushed in with new information. "Madam President, the Gerax are targeting our power infrastructure. They seem to be trying to disable Guardian." The President turned to Dr. Reed. "Can they succeed?" "Not likely," Dr. Reed replied. "Guardian operates from multiple redundant locations, powered by technology not dependent on our public grid." In orbit, Captain Santos received new orders from Guardian. Her ship, the UES Defender, moved to intercept a Gerax vessel attempting to deploy satellites around Earth. "They're trying to create a communications jamming network," explained her tactical officer. "If they succeed, they could disrupt our coordination." "Not on my watch," Santos replied. "Arm gravity torpedoes. Target their deployment base." The UES Defender fired. The torpedoes, based on technology reverse-engineered from the crashed alien ship, created localized gravity distortions that crushed the targeted sections of the Gerax vessel. On the ground, Sergeant Martinez and his squad secured a Gerax communication node in the ruins of Berlin. The enhanced soldiers moved through enemy fire, their nanobots repairing minor injuries almost instantly. "Command, we've secured the target," Martins reported, awaiting the tech team. Minutes later, a group of scientists arrived to study the alien technology. Among them was Kyle Peterson, who had left the mountain complex to examine Garak's equipment firsthand. "This is amazing," Kyle said as he connected his equipment to the alien device. "Their quantum communication network is similar to what we developed, but with some significant differences. If we can tap into it." His fingers flew over his keyboard, uploading a program developed by Guardian. The alien console flickered, then displayed text in English. "We're in," Kyle announced. "We now have access to their entire battle network." In Cheyenne Mountain, Colonel Dawson watched the holographic display as more blue dots appeared, representing human forces gaining ground. "We're winning," he said quietly to General Wright. She shook her head. "Not yet. Guardian has detected a large force approaching from deep space. Reinforcements." Dawson's face hardened. "Then it's time for the final phase of Protocol Omega." He pressed his palm to a secure console and spoke clearly. "Activate Admiral Grant. Authorization code: Sierra Victor Tango 95. The computer beeped in acknowledgement. Message sent. Estimated response time: 6 hours. Deep in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, a signal activated systems that had been dormant for years. Inside a hollowed-out asteroid designated Olympus Base, Admiral Daniel Grant opened his eyes as the cryostasis pod hummed to life. Medical staff helped him out of the pod and briefed him on the situation as he dressed in his uniform. "How long?" he asked. "You've been in stasis for 3 years, Admiral," replied the base doctor. "Protocol Omega has been fully activated. Earth is under attack by the Garaks, as predicted." Grant nodded. He had volunteered for the long-term command mission, knowing he might sleep for decades while the fleet was built in secret. He walked to the command center where officers snapped to attention. Through the reinforced windows, he could see the fruits of humanity's secret space program. A fleet of massive warships hidden among the asteroids, far from Earth's telescopes and the prying eyes of the Garaks. "Status report," Grant ordered. "All 20 capital ships are at full readiness," reported his executive officer. "The 50 support vessels are preparing for deployment. Weapons and shields are at optimal levels." Grant studied the tactical display. "The Garak's reinforcements will arrive at Jupiter's orbit in 5 hours. We'll intercept them there." Back on Earth, in the Cheyenne Mountain complex, General Wright and Colonel Dawson monitored the situation closely. Guardian continued to coordinate the worldwide defense, but a new problem had emerged. "The Garaks have deployed a virus into our systems," Kyle Peterson reported over the video link from Berlin. "They're trying to disable Guardian." Dr. Victoria Reed's fingers flew over her keyboard. "I can counter it, but I need time. They're using quantum encryption methods we haven't seen before." Colonel Dawson turned to General Wright. "We need to buy time for Dr. Reed and distract the Garaks from their cyber attack." "I have an idea," Wright replied. She opened a channel to Captain Santos. "Captain, we need you to lead a direct assault on the Garak's command ship. Not to destroy it. We want to capture it." In orbit, Santos acknowledged the order and gathered her forces. 6 human ships formed up around the UES Defender, their advanced shields glowing as they prepared for battle. "This is going to be rough," Santos told her crew. "But if we can capture their command ship, we gain access to their entire battle network." Her tactical officer, a young man named Paul Johnson, approached with a datapad. "Captain, I studied their ship design. There's a weakness in their security protocols. A small team could board through this access point." He pointed to a section of the ship schematics. Santos studied the plan. "You're volunteering for a suicide mission, Lieutenant." Johnson nodded. "Someone has to do it." After a moment's consideration, Santos approved the plan. A team of 12 enhanced soldiers, led by Lieutenant Johnson, prepared for the boarding action. Meanwhile, Commander Zex Thrall received reports of the approaching human ships with growing concern. "They're targeting us specifically," he told his officers. "Prepare all weapons. These humans will not set foot on our vessel." The battle began with an exchange of energy weapons. The human ships moved with surprising agility, their tactics unexpected. While the Giracs focused on the main assault, a small stealth shuttle detached from the UES Defender and approached the Giracs command ship from below. Lieutenant Johnson and his team cut through the hull and entered the massive alien vessel. Armed with weapons specifically designed to combat the Giracs, they fought their way through the corridors, heading for the main computer core. "We need to download their complete database," Johnson told his team. "Every bit of information about their fleet, their homeworld, everything." In Cheyenne Mountain, Dr. Reed continued her battle against the alien virus. Guardian systems flickered as the AI fought against the intrusion. "I'm losing ground," she reported. Colonel Dawson received a priority message from Admiral Grant. The hidden fleet was moving, preparing to intercept the Giracs reinforcements. "Hold on a little longer," Dawson told Dr. Reed. "The final phase of Protocol Omega is about to begin." On the tactical display, a new series of blue dots appeared, representing the largest and most powerful ships humanity had ever built, emerging from their hiding places among the asteroids. Admiral Grant stood on the bridge of the UES Vanguard, the largest ship in humanity's hidden fleet. Through the view screen, he watched as the Giracs reinforcements approached Jupiter's orbit. Dozens of alien ships, larger and more heavily armed than the first wave. "All ships in attack formation," Grant ordered. "Remember your training. These aren't simulations anymore." The human fleet moved with perfect coordination. For decades, crews had trained in virtual reality for this exact scenario. Ships took positions that maximized their weapon coverage while minimizing their exposure. "The Giracs are sending signals to their advance force," reported Grant's communications officer. "They're still unaware of our presence." Grant nodded. "Let's keep it that way until we're in optimal firing position." The massive human warships glided silently through space, their stealth systems concealing them until they were perfectly positioned. "All ships, weapons free," Grant ordered. Simultaneously, 20 capital ships and 50 support vessels opened fire. The Giracs reinforcement fleet, caught completely by surprise, lost 12 ships in the first volley. On Earth, Colonel Dawson received reports of the space battle while coordinating the ground campaign. In the Sahara Desert, Giracs forces had established their main Earth base, a massive structure that served as their command center. "We need to take that base," Dawson told General Wright. "Guardian predicts they're building something dangerous there." Wright nodded. "I'll lead the assault myself." Enhanced soldiers and autonomous combat units gathered for the attack. Transport aircraft with advanced stealth technology delivered troops near the perimeter of the alien base. Colonel Dawson insisted on joining the mission. After years behind a desk, he was eager to lead from the front. "Just like old times," he said to Wright as they prepared. "Except now we have robots and super soldiers," she replied with a grim smile. The assault began with a coordinated attack from all sides. Enhanced soldiers used their superior speed and strength to break through the outer defenses. Autonomous units targeted the base's weapon systems with perfect precision. Inside the Giracs command ship, Lieutenant Johnson and his team reached the main computer core. The boarding action had been costly. Of the 12 who started, only Johnson and 2 others remained. "Cover me," he told them as he connected a special device to the alien computer. The device, designed by Kyle Peterson, began downloading the Giracs database. Johnson watched the progress indicator slowly advance. "Hurry up," he muttered. The sounds of approaching Girac soldiers echoed through the corridors. In Cheyenne Mountain, Dr. Reed finally broke through the alien cyber defenses. "I've isolated the virus," she announced. "Guardian is secure again." The AI's voice came through the speakers, calm as ever. "Thank you, Dr. Reed. I have regained full operational capacity. New tactical options are now available." On the main display, Gardan highlighted a structure deep within the Garax base in the Sahara. They are constructing a gravity weapon, the AI explained. It is designed to disrupt Earth's core, causing catastrophic tectonic instability. General Wright received this information as her forces pushed deeper into the alien base. "We need to reach that weapon and disable it," she told her troops. "Sergeant Martinez, take your squad and follow this route." Martinez's enhanced soldiers moved through the alien structure, guided by Guardian's perfect knowledge of the base layout. In orbit, Captain Santos executed a daring maneuver, bringing the UES Defender directly alongside the Garax command ship. The unexpected move confused the alien gunners, creating a window of opportunity. "All power to forward shields," Santos ordered. "Prepare to upload the virus." The virus, created by Dr. Reed and enhanced by Guardian, was designed to disrupt Garax systems across their entire fleet. But first, it needed to be uploaded to their main communications array. As the UES Defender absorbed punishing fire, Santos' crew worked frantically to establish the connection. Warning lights flashed across the bridge as systems began to fail. "Connection established," reported the communications officer. "Virus uploading now." Commander Zex Thrall realized too late what was happening. "Sever all communications," he ordered. "Isolate the command systems." But the virus spread too quickly, jumping from system to system, disrupting weapons, shields, and life support throughout the Garax fleet. Near Jupiter, Admiral Grant watched as the alien reinforcements suddenly lost coordination. Their formation broke apart as ships lost control of their systems. "Press the advantage," Grant ordered. "Don't give them time to recover." The battle for Earth reached its climax. Near Jupiter, Admiral Grant's fleet destroyed the last of the Garax reinforcements. In the Sahara, Colonel Dawson and General Wright led the final push into the heart of the alien base. "The gravity weapon is powering up," warned Guardian through their communication links. "You have 7 minutes to disable it before it reaches critical levels." Sergeant Martinez and his squad fought through waves of desperate Garax defenders. The aliens, realizing their invasion had failed, were determined to take Earth with them. "This way," Martinez called to his team. They followed Guardian's directions through the maze-like structure until they reached a massive chamber. In the center stood a pulsing device connected to drills that extended deep into the ground. "That's it," said Martinez. "The gravity weapon." Garax scientists worked frantically at control panels. When they saw the humans, they drew weapons and fired. Martinez's squad took cover behind alien equipment. "We need to get to the main control panel," he told his soldiers. "Cover me." As his team provided covering fire, Martinez sprinted across the open floor. Enhanced by nanobots, he moved faster than any normal human could, dodging enemy fire. He reached the main console and placed an explosive charge, then ran for cover as it detonated. The explosion destroyed the controls, but warning lights still flashed across the weapon. "It's on an automatic countdown," Martinez reported. "We need to destroy the power core." In orbit, Lieutenant Johnson completed the download of the Garax database. His 2 remaining teammates had fallen defending the position. Wounded and alone, he made his way back toward the shuttle. "I have the data," he reported to Captain Santos, "but I'm not sure I can make it to extraction." "We're coming for you, Lieutenant," Santos replied. "Hold position." Aboard the Garax command ship, Commander Zex Thrall realized the battle was lost. His reinforcements were destroyed. His forces on Earth were being defeated. And now, humans had infiltrated his own vessel. "Prepare for self-destruct," he ordered his officers. "We will not allow our technology to fall into human hands." As Zex Thrall entered the self-destruct codes, alarms blared throughout the ship. His bridge officers looked up in confusion. "Commander," one called out, "our systems are being overridden." On the main screen, a message appeared in the Garax language. "Your ship is now under human control." At Cheyenne Mountain, Dr. Reed smiled as her virus took complete control of the Garax command systems. "Tell Captain Santos she can board safely," she said. We've locked out all Garak's command functions. In the Sahara base, Martins and his squad fought to reach the power core of the gravity weapon. The countdown continued as they planted explosive charges on the massive energy source. Everyone out now, Martins ordered. His soldiers retreated as the charges beeped in sequence. The explosion rocked the entire base. The gravity weapon sputtered and died, its threat to Earth's core neutralized. Colonel Dawson and General Wright secured the command center of the base. The remaining Garaks surrendered, their will to fight broken by the destruction of their weapon and the loss of their fleet. 3 days later, Commander Zex Thrall stood before the United Nations Security Council. Guarded by enhanced soldiers, the alien commander had been brought to answer for the invasion. "You should have destroyed yourselves," Zex Thrall said bitterly. "Most species as warlike as yours tear themselves apart before reaching the stars." President Carter stepped forward. "Our history of conflict taught us caution. When we found your scout ship 30 years ago, we recognized a greater threat than each other." She gestured to representatives from Russia, China, and other nations. "We set aside our differences to prepare for your arrival. We studied your technology, your tactics, your biology. We built weapons specifically designed to counter yours." Zex Thrall's alien features showed shock as he finally understood. "You were never as primitive as we thought." "No," agreed the president. "We just let you think we were." 1 week after the failed invasion, Admiral Grant's fleet established a defensive perimeter around the solar system. Humanity now possessed Garak's technology, including faster-than-light travel capabilities. Colonel Dawson returned to his ranch in Montana. Ellen was waiting for him on the porch. "Is it over?" she asked. "This battle is," he replied, taking her hand. "But we've announced our presence to the galaxy now. There will be others." As the sun set over the mountains, satellites carrying humanity's message left the solar system, heading for distant stars. The message was simple. Earth was not to be trifled with. The human war machine had awakened, and it would not sleep again.